Okay, Fambulem, I bring warm greetings to Una from the TNN TV Media Empire platform. Me when they talk to Una today, we now the 26th of June, 2022. Me now na host and presenter Prince Emil Kroma. First of all, before I proceed with this all-important program, I want to congratulate my daughter, the last one, now the family, Ada Deconti Kroma, who just graduate from high school. I mean, this is just like I'm about 2 days ago. Today is Sunday, so Friday we attended the graduation ceremony, and I'm really proud of this little girl. She's a gem, and we hope and wish her all the best in life, just like most parents will do. So, either if you're watching this program, which I'm not sure you do, but I'm sure your mom is watching, I want to extend my deepest thanks and congratulations to you for such an accomplishment, because it's not easy anyway, for them kind of accomplishment there. And I not go bloat or gloat over and too much, because after all, I come from a background of educators. This is what my family turned out for be educators. Mommy, auntie, papa, uncle, and you name them, sisters and brothers, teachers, almost every one of them in the education sector. So I'm really, really proud of this. And once again, Ada, congratulations. And the world is in front of you, and there are more hurdles to cover. Also, today on this program, I will use the opportunity for extend in behalf of the TNN Media Empire platform, with deepest and profound condolences to Dr. Kande Kole Yumkela, the leader of the NGC and one of we parliamentarians them in Sierra Leone, and by extension, the other family members them of Dr. Kande Yumkela, at the loss of Madam Philomena Yumkela. We hear today this sad news broke today that after a protracted illness, Mrs. Philomena Yumkela gave up the ghost. And on behalf of this platform, again, we want to extend with profound and deepest condolences to the Yumkela family at this loss. This is a monumental loss. Why do I say it's a monumental loss? Every loss is monumental, but by degree, some are more monumental than other. A loss is a loss, but by degree, some are more monumental than other. Example, Dr. Kande is one of the formidable opposition people in the country. And obviously, when you lead such a movement, such a campaign, such a party or political movement in the country, you obviously need your soulmate or a soulmate by your side. And this soulmate has been by Dr. Kande's side for better and for worse. But at this particular crucial time, when Dr. Kande go need the late mommy more than any other time in life. Because remember, of course, I say there were good times and bad times, but the good times were during in tenure na the United Nations, where Sam na one of the wing them as a director general. So we can almost ascribe this to being the good times. Flying jets here and there, different capitals, delivering notes, position statements, speaking in behalf of the UN and the world, craft out things them will definitely get an impact on the world that we live in today. But transition point we try to come down home and try to see whether for change the political and social dynamics in our country. And that is a mental task. And when you do that, obviously you need your partner and your soulmate. Unfortunately, as we hear it today, it's a loss for the nation, it's a loss to the Kande Yumkela family. Once more, and finally say, we profoundly express condolences to Dr. Kande Yumkela and the entire Yumkela family and the Philomena family, the family Mami come up from. And in this regard, we wish the Mami in soul for rest in perpetual peace. I mean, every journey will have to come to an end. Having said this, ladies and gentlemen, we want to go straight into a program. And the program today, as soon as I go see the title, it says, is Sierra Leone still a death trap for pregnant women? There's a reason why we ask the question, and the question itself is profound, it's real. This is not delusional. This is something that's been happening in our country. And we will try to look at a few statistics for buttress we point and see whether an inroad into this conversation we want to forget today regarding pregnant women in Sierra Leone, whether the country in itself provides a death trap for the people we live there. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we get on with this? I'm sure we can. Yeah, I am sure we can. Of course, na my desk this same month, now Father's Day, and it's not for me picking them. And love this. Many thanks. And I know say across the nation, across the world, many dads, hundreds and hundreds of millions received similar card. I am more concerned about my family and me picking. So let's get down to it. What you understand from the statistic what we don't read is that Sierra Leone now one of the riskiest places where people can have a baby. Imagine the qualification, one of the riskiest places in which people can have a baby. 1 second, please. I just want to get my phone. Because once I can talk, I can again message them. This is an issue of multitasking, and I don't want to miss out on anything. So we say that Sierra Leone are one of the places, the riskiest places where one can have a baby. Some people go ask why. I don't think say many people are in denial of this, but some may ask why, and definitely they get a right for ask why is it? Imagine a question. The question says, or the submission tonight in this monologue says, is Sierra Leone one of the riskiest places for have a baby? And if it is yes, the question is going to be how so, why? Even if it is no, it's going to be why did we first of all intimate this particular question? So Fambule Munadiola will shape this. This is quite important. In Sierra Leone, na commonplace for let doctor them for ask belle woman them where that period they don't they reach for them and do them delivery for let them make them baby or deliver them baby. Doctor them go ask them for let them come with their own blood. Minimum at least about 2 units of blood that is requested before the due date. And from what we know, in fact, the reason why doctor and they ask for let belle woman and come with their own blood, now because the blood bank in the country is literally zero, nothing already. And if you did it, you remember say you get for you type of blood we needed because not so any blood then will just infuse in you, it wouldn't work. So doctor then they ask patient them for also complement the situation where people offend themselves. Now the country say, well, look for young blood. Come with at least 2 pints. Because we all know, say, when I say we all are, they talk about adults, people and we understand the process where women can go through when they go born picking. They do lose a lot of blood. And that blood, if it just they come outside of your system, it'll make you weak. And the weaker you become, this will lead to death. So that blood need to be replaced. Now, it make is important for let you go born, you begin now a medical center where you'll be looked after medically. We will come to that. But which we talk about where women and they go born, then they talk about come with your own blood. Okay. So what can happen, when they not ask you at that point there, when the time they reach near, they can ask you, say, belle woman and get signs them when they can receive, where that time they don't reach. Either there is contraction. We understand what contraction is. The belly they begin for contract, not expand. They begin for tighten. They tightening. And this they cause some rumble and some pain. With some other people, not with other people themselves. In fact, this is part of the process. You dey yeri or feel this kicking inside the stomach. In other words, that picking with the inside your belly, they send you a message, say, well, I'm about to come, or I want to come now. But there's still a process because you get for actually physically born that picking. Why important for let during that period, you for don't day now hospital. But let me look at little bit of statistics na Sierra Leone. Okay. I remember say few people ask me, including my own sister, it's like there's a poster or there's a facility that reads around the country that every 90 seconds a pregnant woman dies. Every 90 seconds a pregnant woman dies. Talking about looking at the statistics or talking about the statistics, we also know from the statistics, say, one out of every 20 women them in Sierra Leone, they die as a result of pregnancy or childbirth. These statistics they come out from the United Nations. And this is not an old statistical. Remember, I say statistic can be old. And when you use them, it does not reflect the current, the present. But in this one, why are they give fambule? So this is more present, this is more current than any other one we go get for come out. Fambule, like I say, when I forgive me for keeping me head down, because like I say, a lot of time when we hear them program they are is multitasking. You one grain in a studio, now you not the producer, now you not the writer of the script, now you they look for the guest, now you they prepare guest questions, and now you they produce the show, direct the show. So it is similar to waiting at the do na ya. So Fambulendia, una forgive me if una see me head bend down, but that does not stop me really from talking. So I'm still gonna continue talking. But this is quite important, Fambulen. This is about, is Sierra Leone still a death trap for pregnant women them? And let we shape this program wide and far, shall we? Let we do the needful. Share, please. Okay? So let me continue for talk the talk and waka the waka by providing um, data with support the position that we've taken here today for present to the Sierra Leonean people as to whether for go born na the country, whether not death trap, and if it is so, why do we say this is so? Once again, Fambulem, I they come to Una. Of course, I still there with Una, but I they turn me full attention to Una in a minute or two. But understand me what I say. The reason why I they do it, I they do move my eyes away from Una, even though I they talk to Una. Now, for multitask, which I'm doing now, and Una can help in this process by also sharing the platform in message for today. Okay, the platform in message for today. So, like I say, statistically speaking or data speaking, one in every 20 women in Sierra Leone, they die as a result of pregnancy, not childbirth. And this information is not an old one. It is a very new one. And this is according to a body where even if not we all respect them or for certain reasons, because it's a huge body, but these are the United Nations. Now the latest estimate this. And the reason why we get 20 women them, the Sierra Leone, they die out of every one. I mean, out of every one in 20 women, and they die from childbirth during pregnancy, cause losing blood. Imagine this. So we don't identify the problem now, the position of losing blood. If you lose blood in a pregnancy, when you go deliver, and you're not able to replace that blood day, you will die. And not only in pregnancy, it can happen in many other respects. In an accident, for example, where you are bleeding left, right, and center, you are losing blood. That blood day is a source of life. If that blood is not replaced, stop the bleeding. Replace what you don't lose because the body needs a certain percentage of blood. The tendency or the chances is you will die. Okay? So it's no different from pregnant women. They talk about pregnant women today. So the West African country, USA we come out, or USA we country they Sierra Leone. Now, one of the country them or the region them, we consistently they show by every data, every study for sure say now one of the deadliest places them now this dunia USA we day where for let you get a baby, for let you born, for let you have a baby is a risky thing in terms of your life. Your life they at stake the moment you get pregnant. Okay? And we country is no different. And this is exactly the point where we ask the question, is Sierra Leone one of the riskiest places for let you get baby? Because at some point from the same data analysis there, we know say we country now be one of the deadliest places them for let you get baby. One of the deadliest places. Is it still the same? And this is the case that we're trying to make here tonight. So one or two of the country them that stand above us, okay, in terms of mortality rate. Remember, listen to the language. We stand above us. In other words, we all have this high mortality rate, death rate in pregnant women then when they go give birth. But the one or two country then we stand above we in terms of a higher degree of people and when they lose their lives when they go for go born. Now, South Sudan, one of the most recent African republics, and then the other is Chad, ravaged by war. Remember Chad, N'Djamena, Gukoni Wede, and then they had a president recently who was taken or brought before the criminal court at The Hague because of crimes against humanity. So you can imagine that this country don't fed war for quite a while. We fed war for a period of time, and we know what happened during that period. But luckily for we come out inside that period, and what happen now, we for don't make gains in the area there, for make life become more prolonged. Life should be protracted longer. So this is where we are today. We also need for no fambulam that every death will happen as a consequence of which they talk about here. So tonight is preventable. These deaths are preventable deaths. Some of you may be asking, why do I say so? Although the bulk of you may have the idea already why it is preventable, or even in my introduction, in terms of people that will die as a consequence of childbirth. Because we don't identify the problem. If we've identified the problem, which means that we should be seeking solutions, and if we don't find the solutions, we can able for effect the solutions then they for change the dynamics, for change the state, the data within the ground. Yes, we can. Because the first due diligence we don't do now for find out why there are so many people dying from this phenomena, childbirth, which is a must, procreation. But why are people or women still dying in greater numbers? For the benefit of this conversation today, we will limit them to the country where I come from, to the country within the West African Republic, of West Africa, which is called Sierra Leone. There are many other countries where they suffer similarly from the same. I can speak of Liberia, certainly, because we suffer similarly in terms of the lack of. So this is where we are. So we say in many ways, many of these deaths are preventable deaths that are deaths them where we can prevent from happening to us. Again, Fambulema, just take my eyes away from Una, but I still there with Una because I am multitasking at this point. Yeah, I am multitasking. And I'm also kindly asking that Fambulem share the live feed, let other people then come. The numbers here are disappointing, but remember, say we are using or we are multitasking or multi-streaming to different platform them. For example, we get four normally not two we may stream live to. So now we get about four. So people don't necessarily need for come over to this one where they show now when our main channel, although that's where the reflection is coming from to go to others. But whosoever then they or the platform whoso will share the link, they can. And like I say, there are four of them. So for example, the TNN Media Empire Group, we get the Empire Group and with the stream live and there are lots of people watching from there now. We also the stream live now we dedicated YouTube channel and I can also assure you say there are lots of people watching there now. And we also the live stream into the TNN TV Media Empire, from which way are they look at. We get about 5 or 6 people where I say is disappointing. And in a sense, yes. But probably the people that are here because a lot of us share almost similar platforms, are already watching it either on the YouTube dedicated channel or the Then and Now media group. Remember, we have a page and we have a group. So if you watch and you see this number, including myself, is disappointing. But pretty soon I will give you the stats. But the most important message now we talk about pregnant woman them, whether the country where we come from or who this woman they happen for being pregnant, geographically speaking, Sierra Leone. It's now a death trap for these people. And we they say, yes, it is. So even though the question was in the then, but even in the now, it continue for B. And we will give you the reasons then shortly. So we also say that the only people and where they compete with we. This is not bad competition, mind you, but compete with we in terms of the numbers of people them, we or country them, where there is a high rate of mortality, infant mortality or childbirth deaths mortality. Now the difference, now two country them, South Sudan and Chad get a more higher death rate than we in Sierra Leone. I mean, also they say that then death there, as we look at them, these are preventable deaths. In other words, now die them way we can prevent. Because if we don't identify what the problem is, why not? But here is the thing, Fambulem, let we not ever forget, and let's just remind you now quickly, as violence they on an upscale in the country, that is in Sierra Leone, and we know say election they come, and we know one of the causes of violence is election violence. So therefore, as election they come, this violence is only going to be upped. The scale just to go up, or the tip measurement, a meter, it only they go to the extreme right because violence is going to be on the up because election they come. We know this, but let we not forget that we had a little bit over 10 years of civil war. And that civil war day, it destroyed most of we health facilities. This is not hearsay, they say. This is not propaganda. This is just fact with a capital F. If you want to spell the rest of the fact word with capital letters, I mean, you'll be doing the word itself justice within this context. That it is true that we get this civil war, we destroy almost every medical facility then where we get in the country. Every medical facility where we get in the country. And before that, I mean, after that, let me not forget, back in 2010 and so forth and so on, we get the Ebola epidemic. The Ebola epidemic, this is still fresh in the minds of many Sierra Leoneans. I mean, it's stress situation after stress situation. But here we are trying to create a narrative. Let we not forget where we come up from. And like I say again, we get for do a program because the violence is being upped because we refer to them as election violence because election they come. We go get for do a program which serves as a reminder for let people know say we be not come out na a point now with history which was very violent, very deadly. The question here is, do we want to go back to that situation? And I can answer for the vast majority of Sierra Leonean people, which is a big fat no. Capital N, capital no. I mean O, no, not at all. Because we know what we suffer. The few way they make that noise there, now people let me no go through that problem there for see waiting the rest of we suffer as a people, or they are extreme fundamentally, they succumb, they praise, they with, they support a particular side where they use the opportunity at the expense of the peace and cohesion and security of the nation for bring the nation into waiting it not supposed to be into something what we don't go through before. But family again, Of course, that was a digression. Back, there's Ebola epidemic where we get for it medical deficiency than we see in the country. Remember, say we've been suffer from medical deficiency. Ebola can make it worse. Under Ebola, according to the records from the United Nations and the World Health Organization, it killed over 7%. Over 7% of the medical workmen them. Fambulem, did you hear me? It killed over 7% of the medical workmen them. What in this means if we transmit them into real figures, which means that 7% of the people that they work for the medical facility them for facilitate with medical business them in the country, they were killed. They were taken away from us as a consequence of Ebola. A third, in other words, mathematically speaking, 1/3, 1/3 of the health budget, it come out from foreign sources. Remember this and keep it at the back of your mind. 1/3 of we budget regarding medical business, health facility, it come out from we foreign party them. They want the way they help we from abroad. And the thing where they happen now, where they exacerbate this particular problem, is A, because 1/3 of the people that they help we or the budget regarding health business, we well body business, me and you, my sister, my brother, my cousin, my auntie, my niece. 1/3 of that budget they come out from foreign aid. And the one that we they on top of that foreign aid where they help we with them budget there, they say them plan for stop this particular program. What's in the program? This program for the give money. Imagine for health and the people that we they help with, which is 1/3. Now 1/3 of our health facility where they under pressure already, we will not even get money. Now other people that we they depend on. Now in and they say so, 1/3 of that, then they can't stop them. So then they halt that funding for the program and doctor them all over the country, health worker them all over the country. They don't say this thing when they can't stop. So now big wahala now they can bring in the country. Big begging, big cry because I say begging. Very unfortunate word for use, but for use them at the same time. There's going to be a lot of people that will for die. This is just a fact. Let's be realistic about this. As a consequence of the position where we been the help we for donate funds for facilitate the health program or progress of the people they say this is coming to stop. Family, this is sorrowful. It's a really sorrowful. Okay. Another thing what we understand as well is like remember I say from the beginning of this program I talk about the shortages of blood, the critical element of blood now in society and the situation where we dey talk about. And then this is short. Every country get blood bank. In other words, people can donate blood because in all times inside a society, people they need blood. Whether an accident, whether not people they will go born, as they lose blood, people they need blood. But not just blood. I mean, it's blood per se, but there has to be a type. For example, if my blood not type O and waiting then at the blood bank is type A, you can't just give me that because it happened for me. Blood is red and it's called blood, and then a blood bank. No, there are different types of blood, and it therefore be suitable for the recipient. So if I am a recipient or supposed to be a recipient of some blood type, because why? A, I have been in an accident, or assumably me now a pregnant woman, I go for go born and I lose blood, and blood will have to be given back to me for sustaining health. That looking for fit with me type of blood. Now I make you can every blood type. So in Sierra Leone, the blood bank is almost always empty. Almost always empty. Remember, say we been get Ebola. We suffer. We suffer. Now, it make I can see people and they do waiting and they do so now. They talk waiting and they talk so now and forget. But of course, then causes there, it sound almost like angry belly. When you're angry, you are angry. When you faint food, you are cool. It almost sound therapeutic. It almost sound like something, yeah, where they kind of sort of calm you down. You're hungry and you are angry. You put something at the belly, that hungry will be hungry. That anger they don't go because you don't put something on the belly. It's almost the same thing that I they try for talk about here. The focus here is on pregnant woman them na salon, where they are at the mercy of a department, a ministry, an institution which is strapped by resources of different kinds. And on top of it will be money. Because if you probably get money, there's a likelihood you can buy the apparatus system, the ingredients them where you need for that particular institution. In this case, you can go around looking for blood and offer people them because as people and they give blood, then therefore replace that blood themselves. And they talk about healthy people. You have to be healthy for let you give blood. You can't be in a weak form and then you decide for offer blood. You therefore be in a strong form for let you offer blood to others. So if the department were responsible get money, they can make an offer to people and for buy blood giving or blood generating materials them. For example, egg. You gonna need eggs, for replace and many other things them. Protein food them for replacement in and we know say the country also come out and there's the thing. These are all luxury. You're not able to buy beef, you're not able to buy egg, you're not able to buy milk. Because all of these things then they reach to a point where you get to make a choice as to which thing you go buy above the other. Wants and needs, the most necessary of them both, the two of them. So for let you get Belen as Sierra Leone, imagine this. For let you get Belen at the country, you then at the mercy of institutions them will not get the wherewithal for provide for you during the stages and day of pregnancy till you they go give birth. Hence, giving this impression or this position in which it happened for look like a death trap. Because from that moment, the way you get belly, and you're not able to nourish that belly, do all the things that were necessary for let you do up to the point where you go give birth. The tendency for let you lose your life is all the way up there. And this fambulem is a fact. Is a fact. It's nothing make up, nothing made up, nothing propagandistic, just mere capital letters FACT. You get for day on the side of lock fambulem when you get Belena Salon. For make sure say, for let you see the institutions and where they help. Remember, so we don't talk about 1/3 of them that then they help for provide the money needed for let that particular area they of the country or of government or of an institution for function. 1/3 donor money, donor organization them they give money. Now they say it's difficult, they can't give us these monies any longer because they too are in hard times. They're falling into hard times. How do we make up for this gap? So we say for let you survive when you get belly is depending on luck. Can you imagine if you buy Bangati, those of you who play Bangati or Rolex, or not Rolex, roulette, ROULETTE, spelling right, and not Rolex, the watch, the Swiss made watch, ROLEX. No, they talk about roulette. Okay, how many of us get access to that in a nation stricken with poverty? And the poverty is not only now, and these problems are not only now. Like I've been have a conversation with my friend just yesterday, Mr. Vidal Rollins. Yeah, Vidal. It just remind me, and I to this day, imagine this conversation was yesterday. I still agree with the brother because he was so right. We tend for things say we problem that today it begin on a yesterday. Of course, yesterday in a sense, but this problem goes back from the moment where we get independence, waiting we inherit. Instead of we build up on that, this country has been in steady retrogression. Fact, steady retrogression. I can always make mention of me self now when I the producer on this platform that at the time where I grew up, I saw trains, I rode trains hundreds and hundreds of times. I mean, I born at Dovecot, 32A Guard Street. You can go there today, you go ask the history because opposite there is a family property and that family still extend up to this day. And they go tell you about people and we lived there 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago from way in Bodos. We moved temporarily out for let them change them from board to cement and we moved back in. Imagine that. That's what happened. 32A Dovecot, Guard Street, not Dovecot. And just probably 150 yards away. That's a very short distance. That's from coming from your home, depending on where your house stay, for going to the high street, for go take a bus or flag down a taxi. That was the equivalent of the train with me. So every time I'm on the train, back to me ancestry home, usai mi mama komot. Sarah, the late Sarah Boy Cocker. Cocker. Caulker. That most people will be familiar and knowing say this not chieftaincy family. Mami Sarah, wherever you are, may your soul rest in peace. I miss you so much. Wish you were around. Anyway, back to waiting we they talk. At the time, facilities them in there all around. Blood bank them in there. We keep the various type of bloods that if you were to be in need of blood, whether you're a belly woman or you be involved in accident, they can revert back to them blood bank then day and go look for you type of blood where they don't check you up in the hospital. And sure enough, there will be something there in the blood bank because that was a necessity for a health ministry for keep and hospital for keep because people were always going to be in need of their situation, of their facilities they are based on their situation. People were always going to be involved in accidents people were always going to be pregnant and in need for give birth and in need of blood. So you always stack blood, just like the developed countries where we are. This is what it is. So we say now it's based on luck. The luck means that hopefully that blood bank, that 1 or 2 pints way it get there because it's never full anymore. Because people are not giving blood. How you go give blood where you know they eat? Where you know they get replacement, the green the way you need for put back for developed out the way you don't give out. Or you yourself gonna die. Unfortunately. You will have to die. And the natural rule says, for let you look after someone, you basically have to look after yourself first. In other words, you get for day in a position of being fit for look after somebody else. If you're not there in that position, then how can you look after somebody else? Assuming that you're a parent, but you're a negligent parent, you're an irresponsible parent, you get children them. How do you look after them? When what you supposed for imbibe into these kids, you yourself don't even have that in you. So you're raising a generation of people them who will end up being uncouth, misbehaved, uncivilized, indecent, and worst of all, and not an asset, but a liability to society. But this is the case again, not straight away. That for let you be pregnant, you get for they at the mercy of institutions them we depend on other people them. And once then other people and say they cannot give or another in a position for give, then eventually what happens is you become strapped and get for make with the little way you get available. And so therefore it also border on luck because now you get for pick and choose. Imagine you did in a position for pick and choose who will die and who will live. That you look in a queue full of belly woman them. You look for the prime one them, the one them where they in need most, or the one them whereby you determination as an expert of some kind. Say, well, the possibility for survival based on waiting I get, it get for be this one, not that one. So technically you condemn others for die, and then you choose the other. My goodness, what a society that we live in. You can forget luck that you get an expert, a professional, a nurse, a physician, an obstetrician, a pediatrician rather, nearby for offer you some sort of advice, some sort of help, some sort of shoulder, some sort of way out. How many? And especially in a country where the proportion or the ratio of doctors to patient, or patients in this case with an S, is probably 1 to 25, 1 to 50, 1 to 100. And I think I will say something to this regard towards the end of this program. You can forget luck that the government able for get money for pay them people there we supposed for look after you. Because you see, if the government cannot pay them, which means that you cannot be looked after. And it's hard for you blame these people then, because even under humanitarian circumstances, which is largely what they are doing, but members say they self-care their own cost. They self-care their own living conditions. They self-care their own obligations. Either then they run something, get for pay for something, they get homes, they get families, they get children. So you see the chain work there. So government pay them, themselves use that, then deliver the services where government pay them for, and then leave or look after their homes. But in the absence of them payments there, how do they look after you? So we all become destitute in the society. My God, what a society. Who wants to live in those kind of society? Are you shocked that in the end you see the amount of people the way they flee on all levels, every strata of the society that we live in? So you can be at the bottom, the very bottom, the destitute of all destitutes, the poorest of all the poor, and you can be on top of your game, a professional, a gynecologist, the fancy titles there will come with a cost. Pediatrician, like my daughter tells me, oh, Dad, I want to be a pediatrician. And I'm so proud of her, honestly, a pediatrician. And you find out, say, you're a pediatrician or a gynecologist, but you, depending geographically, also you find yourself, you cannot really help, because the government where you depend on cannot make the provisions, because government itself is cash strapped, and at a little bit, almost like you turn the faucet of your tap, the pipes themselves are strapped and starved. That waiting the commodity, instead of a full flow of water, waiting the commodity now drips and drops, just like leakages. And you're supposed to get a good flow, but you don't get it. Imagine this, family. And this is the situation that we find ourselves. You can forget luck that the person where they look after you, okay, it get God in your heart. Because your condition is so warrant a care that somebody need for look after you. But like I say again, the law of humanity means you get for day in a position of strength for look after other person. Because if you try for lift somebody else up, and you yourself you are weak to a point where your weight is quite less than the person where you try for lift up, even though that person they struggle in a different way, both of you will drop and your effort shall be in vain, because you cannot lift them up, because you yourself are weak. So there is a complementary system in the state, in government, in societies, in communities. Exactly, that's what it is. You get for day in luck if you get belle na the country that medicine they na the stock room. You get forget that luck that medicine they na the stock room. That way you need medicine for a particular condition. Let's say, for example, you are anemic, okay, and you need medicine for that nature, for that cause. That when they go look inside the stock room or look at the stock list, there's a stock of the medication where you need. You have to be in luck. Finally, on the business of luck, you also, when you're pregnant na Sierra Leone, get for day in a position that the blood bank they within the country has got reserves. Not only of blood, I mean blood generally, but your type of blood they can be the same because you everybody get different blood type. They can't take an O type blood and put them into an A type person, which you require if you're not O plus, C plus. That's what you're gonna need for go into you. Other than that, that transfusion, the way they take place is needless and might even lead to you death. So, as a pregnant person at the Republic of Sierra Leone, you get for day in luck that the blood bank it get reserve of your blood type. I want to use Connor Hospital because I look at data and statistic, and one of the focus, I look at many. One of the focus from the United Nations and the Washington Post newspaper, where I look this article on, a focus on Koidu Government Hospital. Fambulem. Do we know that two obstetrician them or gynecologist, them both happen for be aid workers. Now we need for distinguish who are aid workers then because there's a reason why I say aid workers. You know, you get your normal Ministry of Health, who say the government employ hundreds and hundreds of people, and in some cases thousands of people, who are responsible or charged with the responsibility of looking after the health of the nation. In this case, the obstetrician, then what they talk about, or gynecologist, Nakono in particular, Koidu Government Hospital. Most of you who are listening or listening subsequently will know exactly what they talk about. Two aid workers only, okay? They serve a quarter of a million people. I repeat, probably not sink in yet. And I hopefully it's sinking. Two aid workers, not with normal Ministry of Health workers or government employed people in that Koidu Government Hospital, but just two aid workers are charged with the responsibility of looking over a quarter of a million people. A quarter of a million people. That's what they're looking after, family. So you see the Herculean task where we get, okay? Um, I talk about anemia or pregnant women, which is common in them, because they eat the things the way you for eat, do the things them way if you for do. So let me look at anemia quickly because now common thing now we country into some people them. And again, the reason why you need medical and health facilities them now for their situation there where you go eventually find yourself in, and if you happen to be that because that has been diagnosed as a consequence of your symptoms where you did demonstrate, then obviously in the hands of health workers, professional health workers, they know waiting for recommend. The doctor know waiting for recommend. The nurse know waiting for recommend for go up against what you suffer. So anemic, when you're anemic, this is now one of the most cause of anemia. You get low levels of iron in the body. And when you get low levels of iron in the body, what they call this type of anemia is iron deficiency. That means you lack of iron. Iron supposed for the also that physical iron, but it's related, yeah, to the way how they want to describe and when they talk about iron because that's for strengthening the body. We body as mortal man them, it need a certain amount of iron where they help for make hemoglobin. Okay, it dey help for make homoglobin. Wetin na homoglobin? Homoglobin na a kind of substance wey dey na the body wey dey help for make we or make oxygen for waka throughout the body. Because remember say if we no get oxygen wey dey pump throughout we body them and other organism them inside the body dey live Because remember, say everything needs some sort of oxygen, including the way how they talk to you. So now, if I were lack of oxygen, I'm a dead man. I wouldn't be doing this. Okay, I'm dead and gone. So inside the body itself, it gets them a thing there where now the hemoglobin, when a substance where they allow oxygen for travel all over the body. So if Dande is lacking, imagine what Dande mean, which means that all them body cell there, they will die because they can't breathe in or take in, yeah, like oxygen for let them survive and they float around all the body and do the different work them where they're supposed to do. But however, this is not just one idea of iron deficiency, what we call anemia. Not just one. So anemia again now one condition in which family where they suffer from that cause they then lack healthy red blood cells where they take adequate oxygen around the body tissue them for let the body be healthy, strong, and they go on. When you lack, and I mean, when you suffer from anemia, what think can happen is it's obvious that your hemoglobin is low, it's low. And once it's low, you begin for the feel tired. You don't see person then at work or you then at host no more, you just dey yawn. You know, you don't do nothing, you not work. Maybe you sleep safe. You go up, you sit down. You just dey stretch. That's because you lack certain ions them in your body. That's because your hemoglobin level is low. Oxygen they travel, we're supposed to keep you awake and alert. If you dey drive, you need to be awake and alert. If you dey suffer from that condition, then there, and you notice that, park and try to take some rest where you don't recoup, you have some energy. You drive along. When you begin feel tired again, don't take the chance. Stop. Stop. Okay? Because we dey talk about pregnant woman in here tonight, so we dey apply this tendency of anemia what I just talk about, hemoglobin, the movement of oxygen inside the body to pregnant woman them. And the thing we want put again, yeah, in terms of this pregnant woman them, especially the losing of blood, the losing of blood during childbirth, they find it difficult. Institutions them, the Ministry of Health, na Sierra Leone, hospital them, clinics, general health facilities them, they find it difficult for make a replacement to the lost then day. Hence why there is a high level of death or deaths in our country as a consequence of pregnant woman them. Okay. Now, Fambulem, I'll talk briefly about the cause or some of the causes of we health problem them. Okay, if you not forget. I'll not go in depth at the point. This was the introduction of the program. And the program so interesting that even at this point as I speak, it's part of the introduction of the program. So some of the causes them we get regarding we health problems them, specifically with we pregnant woman them, we get for look at why the numbers are up. Talk about them again briefly. We say every 90 seconds na Sierra Leone, pregnant woman they die. And I be say somebody asked me, but how does that match up with again 20 people and they die? Well, you get for segregate when these are statistics and it depends on how they do the calculation. So let me give you an example. So we say 90 people every second they die. Well, that 90 people they go mean as a sum total, how many people or how many belle woman them they give birth or pregnant for go give birth for let you get that 90 seconds day. So inside that period day, how many belle woman they will they go for go give birth? As calculated over a month or most likely over a year. But in this case, in fact, when they say 20 people and they die as a consequence of pregnancy related death, either by birth, where you give birth, or just because you're pregnant, because that is in itself a process. How come? How come? So 20 people them can be like within a month, within a week. So calculated over a year, let we say 20 people in a month, that could roughly account to probably 1,200 people over a year. Depending again on almost people and go give birth. But this is not the calculation. Okay? This is not the calculation. But people we know say pregnant women they lost their life as a consequence of the lack of blood during the point when they go give birth to women. I mean to picking them. So if blood not there, this definitely does happen, and this is pathetic. And I've been to talk about some of the causes where make I go into statistics breakdown in terms of what they would they give we say every 90 seconds one person they die. So every 90 seconds will mean every 180 seconds. 180 seconds, if 60 seconds makes a minute, so 60 times 3 could be 180. So every 3 minutes mean one belly woman they die. If you take a literally, then you go ask yourself, so if one belly woman they die every, or three belly woman they die every 3 minutes in the country, I mean, that's a lot. But this is not the way it is interpreted in terms of the data or the statistics. How you want for look at in that raw from the every three. How many belly women they give birth every 3 minutes? That would be the first question that you need for ask yourself. How many belly women they give birth? But for give you an insight and for create a sense of urgency, it's not being falsified. This is not the way data they work. So every 90 seconds, which is 1 minute and 30 seconds, one belly woman they die. One belly woman they die. How many go give birth that same day? You get for multiply them. Expand them over a day, over a week, over a month. You see the numbers become different and it begin for make sense. It begin for make sense. So by the end of we war, 1991 to 2002, you know, so we get that conflict. During that conflict day, I mean, when that period they end, nearly three-fourths of the country in health center them with Ministry of Health, this clinic, this hospital, this private one, this government one. During that period of a conflict and at the end of that conflict, every one of them were wiped out. In other words, we never had an effective health system. Imagine. But people let me get belly, woman them get belly, woman them is still go born. But mostly the traditional doctor them in they take charge. And away from that, woman them they get belly as well when they don't want. Some families them not been entertained that. So people them in they look up to people them where they conduct abortion. It became a lucrative market for people them who are not qualified or centers them which did not meet the requirement of an abortive center, or the practice itself as a whole was unhealthy. All of this help for contribute to the death of Fambulem. Fambulem, just a quick reminder, today, the 26th of June, 2022, me now una host and presenter Prince Emil Koma, they come to una live. They bring to una this all important program titled Is Sierra Leone Still a Death Trap for Pregnant Women? And on top of this, we are providing statistics, data analysis for substantiate the claims or the submissions that we are making. And this is quite important as we move or hope for move towards something completely different. Again, if you watch the program on we Facebook channel, then and now TNN, the numbers are disappointing there for such a huge program. And I can always say, we can do a sensational program. We can say today, First Lady Fatima Bio caught with boyfriend. Mother Bio catches First Lady Fatima with a boyfriend. That's a sensational topic. And you know what? You will see thousands and thousands of people will gravitate towards that program. Obviously, Mother Bio Astafulai involved in a crash on his way from Rwanda. We all know say been in Rwanda. So as you put the president involved in a crash from Rwanda, wow, that's a sensational headline. Thousands and thousands of people then go tune in. The chief of staff fired. The head of the judiciary fired. Sensational headlines. Thousands and thousands of people go turning or tuning. But this is not our intention. I'm saying that we could do this, but this is not our intention. This is not part of our editorial. Our editorial is to bring meaningful conversation, meaningful conversation to we people. Hence, what we are doing here, something really meaningful about pregnant women, and what can we do? But again, family, let me return to the program because at some point we need for end the program and only for keeping along. We probably get 15, 20 more minutes into the program. But this week, we get two massive programs coming on. In fact, three. One will be on police director or the inspector general of police, as we call him, Ambrose Ovula, one of the most unfortunate police chiefs we've ever had. We will also get one on female genital mutilation in in commas, okay, or parentheses, whichever. Yeah, and the reason why I say so, why we put them in inverted commas at this point, now because not to everybody agree. It's quite a subject matter, but not to everybody agree with that terminology, the mutilation. I've watched a sister called Sia Fuambai, and I've watched also a few sisters from different places in the continent, from Somalia and Ethiopia, who have spoken at length and are also familiar and very close to another sister who is championing this cause, Sister Syrian Baby Kamara, who is doing quite well in this particular industry. If you remember some time ago, we asked the question whether female genital, in that inverted commas mutilation, some people will say a process and what have you. Not agree with mutilation because mutilation means for damage. And then say, no, no, we are not damaging. Those four, the pros, say, no, no, we don't agree with that. It's not damage. And those against, they do chime with the word mutilation. Well, Sister Baby Kamara is doing an exemplary work. We hope for get her on this platform for help with understand. She's in Freetown, she's back and forth. Where, in fact, the question we'll ask is directed at Freetown. Is it become unfashionable? Because before then, be fashionable things. People fly their children from abroad, Western Europe, the Americas, go home as previously before us. So will you be? That's the process. It's a kind of tradition, a family thing. But again, that program they come up. And another one where I want for no say the come up. And they come up very shortly. On Wednesday, I can put a timeline on this. In fact, on Wednesday, we get a brother, Sierra Leone brother, Madam Musa, where they serve the police now, America. When this recent thing happened about LHA, he put out a video because that was astounding what thing happened. To a point where, I mean, if you're thinking correctly, now whose basis where you want for argue as opposed to the reality of things? A police is meant a national police, a country's police, for serve and for protect. The police not there in the business of punishing. That's not the business of the police. The police, when people commit crime, everything becomes alleged because nothing is proven. And under with legal jurisprudence, we always say, and this is what it stands as, you are innocent. Every one of us, nobody is above the law, including the president of the country. We are innocent until proven guilty. In this case, LHA was innocent. Everything was alleged. The police then went on for take the action which was unlawful. That was an unlawful action. If you cannot stand to condemn that, you don't have to be a friend of LA. You don't have to be, or LHA does not have to be your cup of tea. To you, he might be rude, he might be petulant, he might be, yeah, out of you name it, all the negatives. But when they talk on a state level, it gets a right equal as you do. No Sierra Leonean is more Sierra Leonean than the other. I repeat, no Sierra Leonean is more Sierra Leonean than the other. The same thing applies for LJ. Okay, so the police is not in the business of punishing. The police go met out a treatment to the guy, which was both torturous It was a mental torture as much as it was a physical torture. And I tell friends, it's not like LJ sit down there carefully and say, okay, by mutual consent, to shave out me iconic dread, me dada. No, I'm sure he didn't do that. And with the anyway out there. Anyway, this is not LJ's program today, but which have been a try for say on Wednesday, Fambulem, spread the word. A brother will serve now the United States Police. He see waiting happen. And he was so astounding that he could not believe this and say, come on, man, this cannot be right. Anyway, we get our brother there on the platform on Wednesday. And Sister Janet Musa will be on the platform with me. She's helped to moderate a couple of programs before. This was like a year plus before. So she's not a stranger to the platform. But some of you may not know her. But for those of you who don't know her, Sister Janet Musa will be on the platform. And we're going to be talking to this brother. And when I watch the space, because we did put one or two videos of this brother where he put up, where he expressed outrage, disappointment at the action of the national police, and by extension, the government and Ambrose Ovula, worst, one of the worst police chiefs that we could have. I put that up on my blog the other day, and somebody say, "Oh no, Sumu Munu was the worst." Well, I don't know much about Munu. I know a little bit about him, but maybe there are some other things in which I don't know. So I challenge the brother. Look, by now, waiting me know because that's what we talk here. Give me a comparative analysis of the two. Or, let's save you time. Give me something about Munu. Tell me about Munu in history, things that he did. I don't want hearsay and they say. I want facts, as we know about Ambrose Sovula. And probably you could be right that he did far worse than Sovula. But until then, it is alleged. So bring that. With Sovula, when I say he's the worst, I've got the evidence. And that will be articulated in the introduction of the program, Police Brutality in Sierra Leone. Do we need a reform? Which is here a particular program on Wednesday coming. Anyway, formula, let we go back. Una forgive me for that lengthy digression, which sometimes is absolutely necessary. Not so? I no get no doubt that is absolutely necessary. So let me go back again to Usa Wibinde in terms of pregnant woman them. Okay, in terms of pregnant woman them. Make I just read. I see, even though the numbers are low, but there has been some conversation on the chat room, and we not there now. We actively they encourage this. Okay, so Sister Jara Kamara is watching. Harun follow Ronso is watching. Tommy Satya is watching. Unisa Sylvester Kamara is watching. Bobo Leon Bie is watching. English Nicholson is watching. Fuhad Bangura is watching. Ibrahim Goodman Sanko is watching. Goodman is watching. Abubakar ZCC, Usmani Kamara, Samuel Kabo, Dumitru Kojoka is watching. Well, this name, there are a few new names to the empire, which means that the empire is growing. Thank you very much. Albert Simbo is watching. Ibrahim Sise is watching. Zainab Sherif Bangura is watching. Mohammed Kamara is watching. Mohammed Sise is watching. Musa Koroma is watching. Otondo Sise is watching. Willie Sako is watching. State Bangazi is watching. Kadi Kadi, Sister Kadi Kadi, how you dey do? I hope all is well is watching. Um, Please wipe your camera to be clearer. Okay, sister, I just see this. Many thanks. I not think saying that the camera, sister, na me internet. I get very poor internet na the site usa day. So hence my video quality can be poor, and especially when I try for bring pictures in the background. If I were to remove the background and just make a normal, you go see the picture quality go improve. But I really appreciate that, Sister Kadi Kadi. Many thanks. Prit Wiseman is watching. Yabangura, Ibrahim Suba, Kamara, Beatrice Thompson is watching. And good evening all to everybody. And again, warm greetings from the media empire. And so you see, a number of people are watching, but it doesn't reflect the number where they show now the actual live stream. I will appreciate as well if una can engage with yourself na the platform, because that can be interesting because I can take cues from there as well. Okay. But I really, really do appreciate the number of people and the quality of the people who are watching. Thanks so much, yeah, for all of this. And before I go back again to the program, because I'll be ending soon, I just want to say this, okay? Um, we can get 2,000, 5,000 people, 10,000, 20,000 people watch a program, and then the program in terms of likes is maybe 10, 20, 50. Come on, let we use the the emoticon there with the advantages there where we give you for express results. And again, back that the help way. And if we understand the algorithm of social media, well, probably not all everybody go one for that. We as a platform enjoy that because after all, not everybody who's watching is supportive of us. It's probably the program. But if you enjoy the program, why not give a thumbs up? If you don't enjoy it, why not give a thumbs down? And put a comment as well. So we dey read that and we dey learn from there. Let us not be selfish. Come on now. Come on. 3,000, 5,000 people watch a program and then you get 10 likes, 50 likes. We're not the first people here for like, but if you like them, show a like. If you dislike them, thumbs down. Let's use this, please. I love you all. Thank you very much. So anyway, by the end of the war, we country in health centers then, they were all wiped out. Even if you say no, not wipe out because you're like a few. So let me say three-fourth. Three-fourth. And if you were to draw like a fraction diagram, and they say shade three-fourth, so that means you divide them into 4 parts. 3 of them parts in there will be shaded, which implies that them parts in there shaded, they all be lack medical facilities. So now only one now in there we been they provide medical facility for a people, 7 million people plus. Imagine the death. I know say some of we sisters then are both the one then waiting at the medical side of things where they work at the hospital and big up to una, congratulations to una, the sisters then where they work now, Lewisham Hospital, King's Hospital, and all the hospitals then dotted around England and the United States and the wider Western Europe, where they come together for help the system out there, because ask not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country. So then sisters then they and then brothers then they, a salute to now, big up. I want to also use this occasion on just yesterday, there was a fundraising activity, I think, na River of Life. Another, people are waiting at the nursing side of things. They try for raise funds, support the school and support health and mental facilities them dotted around the country. We should be doing this. This is a civic responsibility. This is human. This is humanitarian. And Sierra Leoneans are known for that human aspect of things. Despite we differences. So 3/4 of their medical facilities and they not be available. The one way available, imagine, it lack adequate staff and equipment. Imagine that. 3/4 of the medical activity facilities them not at all. The only ones them where they function, they lack adequate staff and equipment. How do you go about doing that? How do you function? How do you render services? When they talk about medical services, not to for just talk, because like for example, I switch on my studio and I go on for talk, although there is plenty of research put into this, but at least you can offer a talk, some kind of therapy to people that we probably need. But when they talk about people that we need some medical advice, some medication, some procedure. So you need people with specialty. Yet during this period, the only department them, hospital them, health centers them, which were available, they either lacked staff who were adequate enough or perform the functions them that were required, or the equipment them where you need were not just available. Somebody come with foot, you need for clean that foot and cover am with gauze. You not even get. Somebody come and cut, they need stitch, or pregnant woman again for the sake of this conversation here today. They need stitches. Anesthetic, anesthetician. You know the medicine no day. They pass away for perform the task. Oh my God, my goodness. God sorry for we country. God sorry for we country. But then again, like I say, I use this opportunity for tell una all thank you, una way they make the effort for make this difference. Yeah, for make this difference. Family, just for take una back 10 years back. Where are we in our 2022? Yes, 10 years back. Do you know that a study, this is not a formidable study, conducted not only internally, but of course, the internal side participated in that study. But 2010, that study they show say, that we public hospital them, they not be even prepared or had no preparations. And when I say preparations, everything within preparations for surgery. In other words, now we hospital them, they lack the wherewithal for perform surgery. Papa God, it's me. They lack the wherewithal for perform surgery. Imagine, Bella woman them, again for the sake of this conversation, but in a wider picture, there are many other people within a society who are going to need surgery. Yet, 2010, a formidable study conducted by outsiders and insiders, the United Nations involved, found out that we hospital them, they're not being prepared at all for conduct surgery. Imagine how many people died. Imagine. Whatever was left of our hospitals, yeah, you go get for pay. And this not the other thing. You get for pay. How many people are working? How many families could afford when they find themselves in this situation that suddenly somebody will be needing the health facilities of a country? And because of the restriction on this health facility, they cannot, yeah, afford for pay because they don't get the money or get for make a choice between the limited or the limitation. In other words, they get 10,000 leons. They get for think about whether for put pot in a fire or for save Auntie Ayo or save Uncle Robert. My God, what a country. But this is it. And I say this, and I say from the bottom of my heart because even Mr. Self, he touched me. If all of the, or almost all of the country in health centers are wiped out, and people are not get gainful employment for use whatever they earn in terms of when it become needed in we health facility. Uncle Santigi get girl picking. And girl picking get pregnant. And they get for send them to a hospital, a medical facility. But the medical facility, remember say I talk about the situation of luck. You get for the in a situation of luck that government they pay the employee them. So therefore the employee them then go able for see you. If government they pay the employee them, the ministry still exists or that department they still exist. When you go there, you have to pay the people that we did it. It sounds really cruel. It's like you watch the Discovery Channel or the Animal Channel on Sky platform, and then you see a lion ripping apart a deer, a reindeer, and then it upsets you. You're watching it, it upsets you. You really not realize this is not just the nature of things. You have to keep the balance of power. It looks cruel, and it is cruel, but this is the way it works in the jungle. The lions will have to live to sustain their own. The deer them when they eat, themselves you get for curb the number of them. Other than that, if these natural things not to take place inside the animal kingdom, By now, therefore, don't reach Usai with this, so Usai, me and you human being, then they dwell. It's unfortunate. But going back again to the analogy, this is the same thing waiting to happen when the government no make provision for the health workers there for provide the services to the citizenry. Now, when the citizenry need medical care and then go to a medical center, the medical authority then way they go get for make some demands from people that waiting medical care. So this is the thing. So you care somebody go there where they at the point of death. Probably that person they're not even aware because they're lying down in a stretcher or at the back of a taxi cab or Okada. They are dying and need medical, your health or attention. But then when you take them there, the point here is because government not make provision. And remember, I know they talk about a particular government. We're not politicizing this particular program today because all of what I'm saying today is applicable to every government in time. Like I say again, my friend Vidal Rollins Bull, I was having a conversation with him yesterday. He just pointed out to me, which I agree with him, that from independence, we have just been retrogressing bit by bit. So when we born, I come and meet double decker, I meet train, I meet bus halt and bus stops. I meet sardine, yeah, for like how you call them breakfast and baked beans and fried eggs that you go take to school, and I meet free school lunch and powder milk and gravy and bulgur and cornmeal pap and cornmeal cake. But then the one that will come after me, they got no idea. How can I blame them when they don't even know about it? How can I? But then that shows that the country don't they deteriorate from that time on. And I sit down, I look at the brother, I say, damn it, I've never thought about this as such. So we they make do with what we get. So this person come, he build 1 kilometer road, the other person come, he add half pant up, and they've done better. And then the other one come again forbid the other one he record. Instead add another half kilometer or 1 pant up. Or bring electricity and then ration them between themselves. This one be the ration them for 12 hours. The other one come here 2 hours or 4 hours pant up. You una the sleeping, you una the light. Go una go hustle na tongue. Shaka Stephen Street and what have you. But of course, this is the business district. So this is the way they can afford generators. But when you come to net, then you generate, you electricity they own. The government they do well. Is this the measure that we want, or do we deserve better? And should we be asking for better? Should we? And damn well we should. But that's how they play on us. But like I say again, we not mean for politicize this program anyhow today because we dey talk about Bele Woman them, whether the country is a death trap. Some time ago, it used to be a death trap. The question today is it still that death trap? And I beg for say, yes, it is. Because again, we are retrogressing. We are not making progress. For let the theater then function, they need light. They need light. In other words, they need energy for the instruments then for function. So if you dey ration electricity, so you see the cruel thing when I talk the analogy na the animal kingdom or the choice way medical people and get for make for choose say, well, Susan dey in a better condition, so in chances for survival is far better than Sampa. So let we take Suzanne, let we left Saleh and Sampa because Saleh and Sampa they're gonna die anyway. My God, this is the situation that we live in. That we can sacrifice we young people simply because we cannot address the problem them, which are problems that we can definitely address. One of electricity. Because electricity, they come for 4 hours or 10 hours. And the operation we need for do, it will last for 4 hours. And because now 4 hours only, we can't accommodate others. And because the chances of this for a survival is better, it look plumb and anemic and what have you. So therefore, and then we sacrifice the others. Is this the society that we want for living? I guess the answer will be no. The answer will be no. You know something, yeah. Of course, me audience as I look at the audience today, largely these are adult, yeah, adult people. I read some names, some of the names I'm familiar with. Most of them have got children, so these are things that they understand. They understand it fully well. They understand it fully well. So either you have to pay the money for let them look after you, but when you go into that condition there of bleeding, of bleeding, some women then they can bleed past the other per labor. Some their own bleeding can be normal. And I guess again, like I said, the audience when they listen to me are more mature women, so they know exactly what I'm talking about. And I haven't been through that exercise myself. Of course, I am a male, but the idea is I've researched this thoroughly to come and do this presentation. So hence I'm saying it. And at the same time, they speak to the audience when they listen to me. It is also true that women then can recover from complication. No, so I mean, there can be complicated issues, and women then can recover from that. But it's unfortunate that in Sierra Leone, if they find themselves in then or certain kind of excuse me, certain kind of complications, they don't recover from it and do not get the proper medical care because without the medical profession, we're supposed for daily, like when woman they bleed or don't lose fluids, and you need a proper medical attention, a doctor for advice. And this action of that doctor is going to save a life. Remember something, and this comes from Biggie Small. I'm not saying no, many of us yeah are like hip hop, but I listen to everything. So at the death of Tupac, then yeah, confront Biggie Small, Christopher Wallace. And it's like, what do you think? And in fact, there were suspicions on him that are in order because there was beefing ongoing between the two of them. He said, despite with differences, I don't wish death on anybody because in death there is no coming back. You get for be to the extreme cruelty for let you wish death on somebody because you know fully well, just like Biggie Small say, in death there is no coming back. So without a medical professional for replace them fluid and they, where that woman they don't lost during childbirth. And also for stitch them up because there are so many ruptures. There are so many ruptures. And like I say again, obviously I'm a male. I haven't been through the process. I do have a wife who's been through the process. So I have an idea and I've read extremely. Yeah, I don't read so much about this. So then rupture and the way can take place. You need somebody for sew them up. And when a rupture and they take place, remember you lose fluid and you lose blood. And those bloods and fluids need to be replaced. And for do so, you need the attendance or the eye or advice of a medical doctor. And in the absence of a medical doctor, your chances of survival are zero. God. But this is the case that we find ourselves in, or we woman them, we sister them, we mama them find themselves in Sierra Leone. If you see you don't get a medical professional advice, or people way professionally inclined for look after you, especially with the boss then they want to talk about all the water they we don't lose or fluids then call them, they'll call them the scientific way, and then they rupture them nerve them vein them we don't bust and this that, which incur the loss of blood. If even you healthy, if even you're not healthy person, you are going to go into a shock. And when you go into that shock, if you don't get medical attention, proper, thorough medical attention, you will die in hours. And this is where we sister them, we mama them, they defend themselves. That's salon today. They die because of these complications. There's no one to look after them, or doctors are exhausted because you don't get the proper medical personnel, here for look over a large swath of people who are getting pregnant. It might just be like you get like cyst. Woman is sabi what they talk about cyst. a boss now one of you ovary them. You therefore end up in the hospital. You therefore get advice. But if you don't get, you will die because of that. You might end up not having babies in your life because of that thing that will happen. It sounds common when you get medical attention because it's something that can be cured. Now, we country, according to census, of course, is contested, especially now. 7.5 million. Some people say 8 million. United Nations and I think some other body them put we at 8 million, yeah, plus. But give or take, 8 million, 7 million, 7.5 million. In terms of the regional trend, na sub-Saharan Africa, we account for 66% of all maternal deaths. And I know they talk about Sierra Leone now in terms of the 66%. Remember, say, they talk about sub-Saharan Africa, 66% of death, maternal death, in the world. We don't look at research material them we point to the fact that we get very few women them, and this now just talk about earlier on, where they give birth now healthy medical facilities. Because when you're pregnant, when you go give birth, that's what you need. When you're in need of medical advice, medical attention, you need a healthy medical facility or health facility. That's what you need. Nothing more, nothing less. That's what you need. Unfortunately, because of the circumstances, we don't get that. Do we? The answer again is no, we don't. Hence, you find this high rate of death. Because let's be honest, if you dey get the medical facility there, you dey get access to the medical facility there, in which you dey meet people who are experts in the area, medical doctors, health professionals, nurses, and what have you. Your chances of survival are very, very great. But outside of that, tell me, your chances, like I said earlier on, is almost zero. It's almost zero. The global average, as per the World Health Organization, in terms of medical facility and health facility, them where women then they go give birth to or where they expect is 83% globally. And we, I don't mean Sierra Leone in this case, collectively speaking about sub-Sahara Africa, not even the entire of Africa, we are 60%. That's 23% below the accepted level. 23% below the accepted level. Anyway, there are so many limitations then that even it not mean say if you turn up, you will even be looked after. Okay? Because the limitations are many. We also need to understand say we country, in this case, Sierra Leone, they have reported persistently the death of health workers. And family, when I know say this not true, we know this. We may not be familiar with the names of lower health workers, but we know like Dr. Khan died because why? He was famous. He was famous and one of the few doctors them. But imagine if Dr. Khan died, how many other health workers below him whose names are unsung, are not mentioned, but we've lost dozens and dozens of these health workers throughout we recent history, Ebola and the COVID-19 pandemic. In the Ebola crisis, we lost so many health workers, people that were meant to deliver health facility for we people for survive. I mean, this situation was so scary. I was far apart, but I could feel the tension. I could feel the heat. I could feel the fear, even though some people had done this politically. But speaking on the record of statistics and data, we know say we lost a lot of we health workers them, a lot of them. Another thing where it can affect with people them as well, pregnant women them as well, not the country. Because again, owing to the situation, I think I mentioned that briefly from the beginning, which is again for do something with abortion. Abortion basically is unwanted pregnancy. You can forget rid of them. So picking in a host, getting boyfriend, and somehow she turned out to be pregnant. Now it make yeah, the western side of things to a larger extent. We have to be really, really thankful. Thankful in the sense that some things that would have been taboo previously. In other words, for Sidon, which you pick, like to this day, I feel uncomfortable for Sidon Miguel picking. Luckily, I get me wife. My wife sit down with him and then talk, and sometimes I over these things. Pregnancy, birth control, this, that. Because at some point, you can forget involved in anything there. Anyway, you picking get forget involved in anything there. How do you protect your child? Now we don't get on being taboo. We don't talk about these things. So the child they go and thief, they steal, they do them things, then finally they end up with this that you not even know. And sometimes by the time you realize the fetus don't form basically when it becomes really more dangerous for even do abortion. But here is the thing: the abortion is illegal, and then the people that way they do them, they don't get no medical supervision. Some of them, lily medical, yeah, brain, now they get regarding this particular procedure whether they can conduct. Now imagine this, but they do it anyway. So you go find out, say, a lot of we begin and lose their life under the knife of some pepper doctor because now chance they take. Apparently, they don't see somebody else a professionally do them, and they really not get the training for them. And then on top of that, the same issue about poverty, the lure because person effort can pay. So they establish themselves. It's a backsided or underground movement in which people and they go to. Because again of waiting to happen, if we be the talk to picking them, they're gonna avoid such a situation. Bath pills and what have you, because they have to and they're gonna be doing it anyway. How do we help them? It's about having these conversations. Unfortunately, it is a taboo, and largely I believe say it is changing. But una the woman the way they listen today, una need for also attack this particular area, kill the abortion clinic there by encouraging we sister them, we mama them who we left down there, for encouraging them, picking them, sit down and talk about this thing because it's normal that it's going to be done. It's going to be done. So we know say this process where they can conduct is unsafe. And do you also know, statistically speaking, that 3 to 4% of the maternal death than what they talk about today is contributed to or make up that figure there by illegal abortion. Imagine 3 to 4%. So you get for triangulate that, you get for break that down as to the total sum of people when they die. Take 3 4% from there and see how many of them deaths than they are happening as a consequence of illegal abortion and how that could have been avoided. Imagine how that could have been avoided. Um, things have been done anyway in that regard, but we dey expect more. And I dey challenge una the woman the way they watch today. Do ya a beg, I hold on a foot. I hold on a foot them. Una take this serious. Some of una get picking them, and some of una picking them una get. Of course, they're doing far, far well. I just got a 17-year-old who just graduated from school on Friday. Safely. Nothing about pregnancy and what have you. Yeah. But what about back home? And owing to the situation, the condition, you not get food for put on the table. You not get money for buy book. You not get money for pay that teacher for some pamphlet. You not get money for pay bus fare for go to school. So you get the neighbor or you get Mr. Jallo. I mean, this is no discrimination when I call Jallo. This could be anybody. For somebody take this out of context. Why I mentioned Jallo, why not say bar? Or generally somebody up way affluent we can afford. Gradually begin give you 1,000, 10,000, 50,000. Now so you begin for controller picking in life. So I dey ask una anyway, without going into much detail, una get involved today. Una set up organizations, them if the organizations are not already set up. How for change this thing? Not only about giving the condoms, but having conversation with the speaking them. Una organize a social media platform, a social media forum
Una we get together, if we get for contribute, we will contribute. If experts then will get for go down and hold talk, probably in a stadium, because we talk about this on a national scale. Hold a talk in a stadium. Yeah. How do you call them? The word don't even slip my mind. But a conversation around this. So you get PowerPoint production or presentation where you they do. You go with materials them. This not the kind level we're supposed for the act now. Because we've come big enough, we've come known enough. So we're supposed for do this. Anyway, back again for calculating the risk of maternal death in a salon, as I can end this program. This is something where the UN, define as a lifetime risk. And this get for do something with which they talk about again regarding young people. So the lifetime risk of maternal mortality as the probability a 15-year-old family, this now go left family with. Not exactly left family with, but close to left family with. That a 15-year-old go die. Did I make myself sound airy enough? Shocking enough that a 15-year-old, according to the United Nations, will die at some point from complications, which is related to either pregnancy or childbirth. Before I go further, I'll just repeat this. According to the United Nations, calculating the risk of maternal death, Nasialio, they say the probability that a 15-year-old pikin will die at some point from complications related to pregnancy or childbirth. So the two things there, just the idea that you get belly, the complication from having belly, or where you go for go give birth, where you go for go born, waiting can derive from there. That complication there is high. That risk is high. That die business we go likely come out from there is high. So now they then come out with what they give you this figure for say, that's alone, 1 in 20 belly woman they die. And this now the third highest rate now the world pan die business for belly woman them. They say the few reasons them we get for do with this particular phenomena. One, na cost. And cost now in the pan tap all of the obstacles then when them people there get for go through. All now in the day. Okay. So you get for fan people away, like I've been talk earlier on, hold a workshop for data we picking them. First of all, educate them, for make them for understand what it is, that they should not be shy for talk about these things. No, they're not for shame for talk about them. And not say we in a grab, this not been taboo, all things not been secret. Yeah, like hide and seek. Then game that they will play will know what thing may happen. This should not be happening anymore. This is real. This is life-saving measures. So we for take them seriously. We have to. Okay? So when the government back then, 10 years ago, realized it, cost now be one of the obstacles them to deterring what may happen or then die business will be happen, the country moved toward eradicating fees where people can get for pay just by visiting doctors. They make them free. Free. And this now 2010. So doctor go visit free of charge. No need for charge because government don't pay. Drugs under the free healthcare initiative be applicable, including doctor visit free of charge in 2010. Why? This was a reasonable policy. A government sit down after all of the studies advised by outside as well, including internally. Understand say cost being there on top of all the obstacle there. So if we pull costs, that will help for ameliorate the problem. And it happened, and that helped. There are also new programs we help for drive major progress. There we begin something when they call the share of women them where they give birth at health facilities because of the action them where government you cannot take. So the education of the woman them for the woman them. In other words, whether not time now you buy a TV, such as Susa they talk, we could buy time on this platform, for example, for advertise this particular program. Say this is what we need for do because after all, we've got thousands of people that are listening to us. We can inclusively or indeed do them even free of charge because it's a noble cause. We just they talk about the advert and the effect we get. So once governments can move their fees and then people and begin to understand this, women they will not be they go na health center them for go do checkup and for get bath, which was 25% prior. Post this particular initiative, it jump, my dear, from 25% back in 2008 to 54% in 2013. In 2013 to 54%. And guess what? By 2013, 83%. Yeah. Inside between 2013 and 2019. And if you go to the national statistics, it will show you the record there. So you see how these actions can make a difference. But unfortunately, God, they work and then other things then can take place as well. So while all of this been take place, we can't get the pandemic. What's in the pandemic? They talk about COVID-19. Foreign aid worker them, they shift from that old emergency where them in the use, where they help pregnant woman them to new. In other words, for adapt to this new situation them where family where we find ourselves in or where people find themselves in. So no longer was focus day on that pregnancy business where them in help with. So it was more about this pandemic. Remember, I say pandemic, international issue, COVID-19. We all know how panicky we were. So government try for avoid a situation with Ebola and immediately spring into action with in international partners them. They begin for work hand in hand. But what it also this mean is they avoid or left void a critical department, a critical institution than at the health with regard to Belle woman because at the same health situation, but something don't come we claim the attention more than that healthcare business. So attention begin for focus. So agencies where government been get now all be more or less focused on this new pandemic. So much so that the United Kingdom will be the help we massively with these health issues regarding Belle woman them, then decide for say that the support for that particular area they go end. In other words, this was cash that was going towards a functional department. They say it go get for end, which was unfortunate. And this not begging, not cry, not kind of begging also, real cry. So the UK do well for quite a long time, and this is why we no need for be addictive to them thing there when people there can do for we. We need for say thank you, but how then they do now so for the watch and the copy and try for find a way out. We don't need for use them politically because we know say we don't do that a few times. But we need for the watch and understand what in the people that they spend, how then they spend, what in they spend per. Because eventually this cannot be sustainable forever. That's the point. And this is exactly what will happen. So we should be prepared to take over. Unfortunately, we'll not be prepared. So once Britain say, then they pull out from this support when they don't give the Ministry of Health for all these years, we don't they help for protect we sister them, make life long and make die business less for Bele woman them, and they can pull out. We were not prepared. We were not prepared. So by September this year, that 8 day will be no more. This make the minister of health, Mr. Demby, okay, being here for way inside, and he talk say this program won't have been helpful with so a lifesaver, but we go see whether the government go try in best, and at the quote Mr. Demby, that not the minister of health, and this is in inverted commas, I'm quoting him directly. The government is trying our very best to maintain it, but it's getting a lot more difficult. The funding side of this is precarious. The value and the need for it is inordinate. That's the Minister of Health. So again, there are lucky weeks, there are lucky months, and this now another healthcare worker, a woman where I want to say a personal congratulations to, and this now Sister Frances Wuri Sise. Now, woman we been in London here, been not move go down and using expertise and knowledge for try for improve the health sector down there, especially when it comes to maternal care. Sister Frances Wuri Sise, if you are watching tonight or watch or anybody will sabi Sister Frances when they watch, Wuri Sise, do you want to congratulate them in behalf of the TNN Media Empire. Sister Frances Sise, Wuri Sise, she's an obstetrician where they work at the King Hammond Maternity and Child Healthcare Hospital na Freetown. Now, he said this that there are times when the only free thing where it can offer a patient that consultation. So you see, all take out money, and I put this again back at the quote Sister Wuri directly, Frances Wuri Sise. The only thing I can offer a patient is consultation. We're free. Blood, not a special challenge. Physician, then within a salon, then they advise woman then before they go born, let them fend their own. Imagine that, let them fend their own blood. Because in the case of emergency, so that they go able to use that blood the way they fend, we fit their own type of blood. And especially that blood they you for don't fend them, because the emergency period now during the third trimester of the woman pregnancy. Which in this mean um, um they're not going to ever get guarantee. Now, Sister Wuri now they say this that the hospital side and go, the clinical side and go, will get blood for save their life. Hence why then they ask them. First, then government truck been deliver every 12 weeks. Government truck they deliver needed blood supply. Okay, now I mean now they do now. First then I be 6 weeks. So now then they don't double. Every 6 weeks, government truck then deliver supply of blood. Now 12 weeks, and none if they even phenom. Okay, so then they put the blame on coronavirus. Of course, coronavirus get impact on everything: distancing of people, logistical support, and how things then generally they move on, shipping and you name it. In fact, this all boil under logistics. The maternity ward been out of drug for a long time for treat postpartum bleeding. Imagine that. Multivitamin, my sister them, me brother them, nowhere to be found. Anti-malaria pill and painkiller them, well, then they, you get for go lock for fair now, you get money for buy them. So they partner them with in health. The global, the non-profit group them, where they help for one day hospital them. Now they be the help for filling and gap there. Can you imagine? And this now foreign people and they help with. And this cannot continue. So they appeal to government through the Minister Wuri for try for put an inside. Every time, this now another sister, we they cannot help a pregnant woman for make her for Lego deliver safely. And for Guillaume, waiting he really need, it turned out for be a tragedy. This now another sister called Aisata Dumbuya. She is the director of reproductive, maternal, neonatal, and child health at Partners in Health in Sierra Leone. Sister Dumbuya, she hails from Connaught District. He don't work previously as a midwife here in London. I think so, I've been kind of mix them up with Sister Wuri, but Sister Wuri self, I believe, say, be not studying here. But Sister Aisata Dumbuya be not work as a midwife in London. So she understand, better woman business. This not in profession. All that time they were in England, yeah, where they do a maternal work. Inside 20 years, this woman say, now one green term inside 20 years, now you see Belle woman die. Unfortunately, like Belle woman, they die. Now, waiting Sister Dumbuya they do is they try for track the record and create basically a spreadsheet, if you like, of woman the way they born and die. inside the different months them of the year. Family them, it really necessary that we all try for put an inside. I also want to commend Sister Aminata Saidu, where they work now the Koidu Hospital, and two other foreigners, them I think they come up from Uganda, where they serve over 250,000 women them na salon, specifically in Akono Koidu. Ugandans them, I believe. Okay. Women they get for do C-section them. C-section not become very dangerous. Okay. The hospital them they get bad reputation between 2014 and 2016, where Ebola been the outrage in the country, or we been there on the break in the country. Over 11,300 people them in the entire West Africa die from that Ebola day. Within that same period, people that we go do cesarean and die. And die in that country mercilessly. Okay. So C-section also need blood. So the necessity of blood. And the two obstetrician them and gynecologists them were mentioned earlier, we na partner them in the health, in the health sector. But now Uganda na didn't come out and they don't help. The number of women they will give birth at the hospital, since they don't put things there into place for end on a positive note, it don't increase because obviously after all these studies and all the other people that were there they help, Sister Uri, Sister Dumbuya, and then people they are from Uganda, then health partners they are from Uganda. So delivery done the done they grow within a healthy environment. So the number of women that we give birth in a hospital, for example, inside between 2018 and now, it don't grow exponentially. This now as a consequence of aggressive approach by people we determine say this particular area get for see good, it get for be good because if we not do something, then we people then will continue for die. That number they as I speak to family today, it continue for increase. So maternal death it don't reduce. It don't reduce badly. Outside 300 people them in they die. This not just rough figure that they give. This is nowhere near the truth. But rough number of people them in they die. In fact, that be specific. So outside 31 person them in they die, they don't reduce them by two. Now 29 minute die. Now 29 they die now. Between 31 to 29, only 25 people in they die inside this 2021. Before then, now be 31 and the number been the rise. By 2021, that number they don't drop. So family, which are they try for saying those of you we don't watch this program, the woman them, I forget to mention another sister. There's another sister called I believe Sister I want to commend you and it's a person where been there now. I mean, it's still in a UK and they work in a hospital and understand some of these things and he using money for buy drugs and using expertise for go help people and people that will be die from causes they were not supposed to die from at all not. But this is the case. So all these people are not help for reduce the cause of death. But again, every good thing must come to an end. And I hope say people are going to utilize this video, let we share them. And then woman that we watch today, una come together for una need for use this platform for promote anything regarding the saving of lives, bele woman them, the spreading of the message. Una please feel free for do so. Una watch out for waiting in the Canada platform. And the next one will be on Wednesday. We want to talk about police brutality. And we brought away the New York police or American police who can help we for understand police brutality, which happened recently, the LJ case. In behalf of the Den and Now Media platform, I've been your host and presenter, Prince Emil Koma. And I thank you very much for listening. Thank you so much. And have a very good week ahead of you all. Until my next video, I want to say goodbye. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Make sure say you sign out. I see a number of people still sign on. Goodbye, and make sure say you wanna share this video. And una not forget for use the likes and dislike. If you know like the video, dislike them. But give me reason because we can use that for then develop we self better so that we go able for relate. Until then, goodbye. Bye everyone.